6 months into the pandemic and unemployment numbers remain high. Our national investigative team found millions of Americans are waiting weeks, even months, for their first payment. Here's Investigate TV's Lee Zurich.
A home with siding and roof damage, a property with trees down. Annette Bellard can't get back into her Lake Charles, Louisiana house damaged by Hurricane Laura.
I have no idea what else to do.
But that reaction's not from the storm, but instead her months-long battle to receive pandemic unemployment benefits.
You can already imagine my frustration with the pandemic, your hours going down, then Hurricane Laura hits you, you can't be at your own house. You know, being at home would be some comfort in this situation, but it just looked like one thing after another, doesn't it?
Bellard started receiving unemployment checks from the state of Louisiana when her work hours were cut due to the pandemic. But when she reported receiving $110 in holiday pay for the 4th of July, the state halted her benefits. So you haven't heard anything in like 2 months?
Right.
And you haven't received any money in 2 months?
No, nothing.
Bellard's tried to ask the state of Louisiana to restore her benefits, but she's received no answer.
When you can't pay your bills and you're used to doing everything yourself and you have to call somebody and go, can you give me 30 days? Can you give me some time for this? You're basically begging, and it's crazy.
Bellard joins millions of Americans who have experienced disrupted or delayed unemployment checks. According to our analysis, during the pandemic, more than 4 million Americans have waited more than 4 weeks to receive their first unemployment payment. The problem, unprecedented volume and outdated systems. Take Virginia. Last year, from March through August, the state processed 64,000 claims. This year, more than 1 million. Is your office just overwhelmed?
It has been, yes.
Virginia officials say at the peak of the pandemic, the customer service office received 20,000 emails a day. They're also working with a computer system that hasn't been updated since 1985.
And I can't say whether that would have helped or not. I think it would have, but we were in a very old system that needed a lot of updating. And I think, that was part of our problem.
For Annette Bellard, the 1-2 punch of a pandemic and hurricane has her now hopeless.
You want to stand on your own feet. You don't want somebody else's money. You're not committing fraud. You just want your money so you can pay your bills.
Lee Zurich, Valley News Live.
Now, we looked at the numbers in our neck of the woods. In Minnesota, between March and July of this year, 49 people waited at least 50 days to get their first payment after they became eligible. That's a more than 700% increase from last year. In North Dakota, 227 people waited at least 50 days. That's a more than 7,000% increase from last year. Our team reached out to the Louisiana Workforce Commission. They refused to comment on Annette Bellard's claim, citing confidentiality laws.
A new study believes your blood type is associated with your risk of getting coronavirus. Scientists looked at more than 1 million DNA samples. Data indicates that people with blood type O tend to test positive for the virus less frequently when compared to people with any other blood group. The study also found a rare genetic mutation in fewer than 10% of the population that appears to raise the risk of developing a serious case of coronavirus. Up next in sports, could Minnesota gain back the ground it lost last night to the Chicago White Sox? Beth has the answer.